Well, hello, folks. I hope you're all well today. We're experiencing some really interesting weather here in New Jersey. Yeah, it's 63 degrees in the middle of March. Only going to be that way for a few days, but I got to take my dog Charlie out for a nice long walk. So that was kind of good. Had a nice time with that. We're here for another guitar lesson. I'm going to get right into that. Before I do, you can say hi in the chat. I see anyone and everyone's chat comes in, so I'll be able to. I'll really be looking forward to chatting with you during the lesson. If you have any questions, you can certainly chat with me, obviously in a live setting. But this video will remain up on YouTube. It'll remain up on Facebook, and it'll remain up on my Twitch channel. So there you go. So the first thing I want to say is we're going to be doing How Long Blues. It's going to be in drop D tuning, meaning you can take your 6th string and drop it down to a D. I'm going to play a little bit for you, but while I do that, you can download the tab, and there's a link right there that you could download the tab, okay? And that's tinyurl.com/tab Toby Walker. Okay, so that's your URL. Just type that in another window, and you're going to see the tablature for this tune. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'll tell you up here. There's a donate link, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be giving away today for your donations. All right, let me pull that up here. Now you could donate anything you want. You could donate $1, $5, $10. Anything's really going to help. But for $15, I'm going to be sending you two really cool guitar lessons. One is the song How I Play Baby Please Don't Go by Mance Lipscomb. And there's instructional videos with that, as well as tab, and you get to keep the instructional videos. So that's only for that's for $15. Plus the other lesson you're going to get for this, it's the same thing, is CC Rider. It's an arrangement that I learned from the late Ben Andrews. Ben Andrews was an incredible acoustic blues guitar player, and he passed away, but I'm going to carry on some of his music. So both for $15, you're going to get instructional videos on how to play Mance Lipscomb's Baby Please Don't Go and the CC Rider, which is a really cool arrangement. And if you actually go on the donate page, which is the donate thing up there, tinyurl.com/donate Toby Walker, I have videos up there. It's just basic videos on what I'm going to be teaching you with CC Rider and Baby Please Don't Go. So that link is always going to be up there. And the other thing that I have is if you donate $5 more, that's it. For $20, I'm going to be giving you a whole set of lessons. There's, I think, 5 or 6 songs in this, and it's called Finger Picking Greenwich Village. So I've taken songs from Bob Dylan, Dave Van Ronk, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and I think even Brownie McGee. And I put all of those into this Finger Picking Greenwich Village set. So, and that's only for $20, plus you get the 2 other songs for a donation of that. And then the last one is going to be my Premier membership site, which has all of these on the site. Plus, it's got over 475 maybe now, or almost 500 instructional videos. And with the tablature, it's got a ton of other things in there, tips for guitarists that I just put up. And I'm always adding new things, and you'll get access to that for a whole year. Normally, that costs people $125 for the year, but right here, when I stream like this, it's only going to cost you $60. You get a year's access to everything that I've ever put out, and there's a lot of things that I've put out on slide guitar playing, just finger picking blues, everything. So that's the donate tab up there, and you can always go to that during the lesson or after the lesson, because this is going to be up on YouTube. And anyone says hello in the chat, I'll be able to see what you're saying, and I'd be love to talk to you all. So at any rate, let's get right into the lesson here. Okay, and get it right into, let me get that right there. All right, and I'm going to be doing, like I said, the How Long Blues. And I'm going to play a little bit of it first, and then we'll get into talking about it. How long has that evening train gone? It's been gone since that blood-red sun went down. Well, I think I heard a whistle, I think I see a train. Deep in my heart there's a aching pain. How long? Baby, now, how long? That evening train been gone, it's been gone since that blood red sun went down. So we're going to learn a little bit of that. There's some little solos in there that I was just improvising on, but the solos were just kind of fun. I like playing a lot of those solos in there. And I'm gonna give you a solo that you can play, and then I'm gonna show you just some of the ways that I improvise when I'm playing this song. So let's take a look, and this is going to be at the on your first page of your tablature. And again, if you don't know where the tab is, you can just always download it right at there at the download link, which is right there. Okay. So let's take a look at this slowly. Again, this is in drop D tuning. So I've taken my 6th string and dropped it all the way down to a D. So it should be an octave below your 4th string. Now, in the very first measure, what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a D chord, and I'm going to be using my middle finger on the 1st string and my index finger on the 2nd string, like this. And I'm going to be alternating the bass between my 6th and my 5th string, like. Now you can also alternate it if you want between the 6th and the 4th. That works too, it works just as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the 1st and 2nd string as 8th notes, while keeping the bass going. Now I'm going to switch over to the D7 chord and do the same thing. Now I'm going to go over to the G7, but with the G7 I'm not going to put my 3rd finger on the bass here like you normally would in basic tuning, because remember, it's a whole step back. So I'm going to just use this B note in the 5th string as my bass. I'm going to have my 1st finger on the F note and my pinky on the D note. So you really want to get right into that chord right away as such. So I'm going to have this. Now I'm going to grab the same 1st and 2nd strings, and I'm going to alternate the bass between my 5th and my 4th string like this. And then we're going to do this measure. Listen to that again. let's take a look at that. Here, I'm going to start off with my bass on the 5th string. My index finger is going to come up and grab the 3rd string at the 3rd fret, that B flat note. So I have... Now I'm going to pick up the pinky, and I'm going to use my thumb and my middle finger to grab the 4th and 2nd string. Now I'm going to put my pinky down on the D note, and with my index finger, hit that note. Then I'm going to grab the 5th string and open 1st string, and then put my finger down to get that F note, and then finally the open D. So again, it's this. And that little lick there I use quite often. I mean, a lot of people use that lick. Blind Blake, for instance, used that one all the time. You know, all kinds of. It's just a nice little thing to do when you're in a G chord. And then I have that. The first measure, the second line, is the F note functioning as a flatted 7th. In the first line, in the very first line, Sue, we don't have an F note. What we do is we have the F sharp and we have the C. That's the flatted 7th, that's C. So right there. And hi, Homer. Just saw you up there in the chat. Yeah, so that's the flatted 7th in there. The second line. Oh, thank you. In the second line, yeah, you know what you do. The F is the flatted. It's two ways of looking at that, Sue. In the key of D, that would be considered the flat 3rd. But against a G chord, which makes it a 7th, okay, that's the flatted 7th. So there you go. Good question. Rusty, how are you? Oh, the first measure of the second line. Sue, I should have seen that. I need better glasses. All right, so here's the whole first 2 lines, okay? Okay? Yeah, you're welcome, Sue. Now, I'm going to do a different D chord. Instead of going to this D chord, I'm going to go up here with my first finger on the A and my 3rd finger on the F sharp. And I'm going to be playing that again with my 1st and 2nd fingers here. So I have this. Now I'm going to go to my A chord, and I'm going to grab that with my 1st finger barred on the first 4 strings and my pinky out to the 1st string. And I'm just going to, well, let me play this first. So here I'm getting that high A and the C sharp, and alternating between the 5th and 4th string. Then I bring it down to an A7. Then I let go of it altogether, and I do that little F to the F sharp and then back into my D. So we have now we're into the 4th line now in the first measure. Here's how this sounds. And then back to the D. So let's take a look at this. We start out with 2 D notes, open 5th string. That leads us into our G7 chord, grabbing that 5th and 1st string, and my pinky's already there for the D note. And then open 1st and 4th string. So we have finally to the D, and then we're going to do a little thing into the A chord. So let's take a look at that last measure on the 4th line. So here I'm taking from the D, and I'm doing this little bluesy lick. So I'm going, there's that flat seventh again, that C, into the natural seventh, and then into the A, and then coming down on the fourth and first string with the high A note. So basically here, I'm going to play those 4 lines right now. There we go. There we are. The coffee's not really kicking in today, so we have some water. Anyway, that's the first 4 lines of How Long Blues. Now we're just going to do a little bit of a solo that you can play in here, and in the key of D. You know, when I'm playing the blues, I kind of like coming up to here at the 8th fret, first string, the C note, and I get the A note here on the 2nd string at the 10th fret. And I'm gonna play the same little lick like this. So I'm doing the same thing with my 1st and 2nd fingers. Now I'm going to go into this next measure, and I'm going to do a little variation here. So here I've just picked up my 3rd finger. I have my 2nd finger right there on that G sharp note. I'm going to play that, and then on the upbeat, put my 3rd finger down and grab the 2 strings again. So I have, I'm going to do that again with the 5th string in the bass. And again, back to the 6th string. And then finally, so we have. Now I'm going to be coming into my G7, and here we have a very similar pattern. And then we get. So really basic stuff here. Finally, back to my D over here. Just like we did before. A, A7. And here, you know, I kind of ended it. If I wanted to, I can do this. Get a little train sound in there. So that's basically one of the solos you could do. And we're going to go back to that solo, and I'm going to show you how you can embellish the little parts of that solo. All right, but let's take a look now at the 2nd page. The 2nd page is just some extras, and this I just put How Long Blues extras. And this is, the first part of this is just an intro that you can play to the song. And it sounds like this. Got it. And at this point, we're going to come up to that. I want to get that B flat note. So here we're really kind of just bringing this back a little bit. So let's take a look at this very slowly. It starts off with the A chord. We've got our 1st finger barred on the first 4 strings and our pinky out on the 1st string at that 5th fret. I'm going to, I could either alternate my bass here between the 5th and 4th, or I could just play the 5th string straight. And I think on this time I'm going to play it just straight. So we have. Now notice I brought the A down to a G sharp and then finally down to a G natural. So we have. Now you can grab 2 strings and do that same thing. So So either way, that's going to sound good. And then on the last beat, we're going to be playing that B flat note, and it leads into the B, which is part of our G7 chord, and it's going to sound like this. So we have... So let's take a look at that measure. Listen to it again. So let's take a look at that very slowly. We're staying on the B note, but I'm going to be bringing in all the other notes here. F note, then pick it up, and then our pinky, that second string. So we have... Now I'm going to hit that open first string, get my third finger on the third fret on that third string. So we have... Pick it up, get the two B notes, and then finally our D note. So we have... Now notice that I put that D note in. I could have done it like this. Just like that, straight on. But here I chose to bring the D note just a little bit ahead of the measure. And it kind of gives it a little, almost like a little push. You know, you could think the tempo's increasing, but it's not. It's sort of just giving a little bit of a push in there. So it's something you may want to consider going into a chord, is playing the note of that chord just like on the upbeat before you actually get to the chord. And that little technique will give your song a little movement without picking up the speed. Let's take a look now at that second line, whereas here, now here you could do a lot of different things with the bass. What I put in the tab was just some extra little movements like 6th string, 4th string, 6th string, 5th string. So you could do that if you'd like, and it would sound like this. Or you could stay just on the 6th string, like that. Either way, or alternate, or you can alternate just strictly between two strings, like the 6th and the 4th, or the 6th and the 5th. Notice I'm starting it all with the 6th because I want to really come back and bring in that D chord. So let's take a look at what I'm doing here. I'm hitting this bass note by itself. Then I'm going to come down on the 4th string, and as I do that, I'm going to start a triplet going. So my thumb and my first finger are grabbing that open 4th string and the 2nd string. At the same time, my middle finger, then my middle finger comes in, grabs the 1st string, and then my index comes back and grabs the 2nd string as a triplet. Da, da, da. Now I'm going to bring that back to the 4th fret, play my low D, bring that back one more time and get my 5th string in the bass, and then on the upbeat come in with the F sharp and the D. So we have this. Like that. So we have that again. And then finally, the last measure is just an A chord to the A7. So you can use that, say, as an intro, okay, to the song, and then go right into the song. And I figured, let me give you some extra little turnarounds that you can use in the middle of the song, because why do the same thing over and over again? So let's take a look at turnaround number 1 on page 2, and it's going to sound like this. So here, we're really going to emphasize that A note and the F note. And we're going to kind of like push them up a little bit. Like that. So we have... And then we're going to get this, the B note to the A note, the F note, and then the D. And you could even push that F a note. Just make it a little dirty, like that. Now, at this point, we're into our next measure, which sounds like this. And then we're going to get that. So with that, I'm playing the low 6th string, getting my first finger in place at the 1st fret, and then bringing it up, and as I bring it up, I come down on the 5th string. So I have this, and then my pinky. So that little turnaround all together is going to sound like this. So now you got some nice little turnarounds in there. Let's take a look at this next little turnaround, which is going to be kind of fun to play. So it sounds like that. So let's take a look at that guy. We start off with the 6th string, and then I come up on the F note, and then come down again. Now I'm doing just the 6th string in the bass here. Now back to the F sharp, then the D note by itself. So we have then open 2nd and 6th, and then the A note. So that first part is then the open 2nd string, and then the D note. So we have and this next little part here is just a little so we're getting into that a little C note, hammer it down to the F sharp. So we have to the C sharp. Now I get into my A chord and I hit that high A note, and then the A note again. It's just a cool little thing you can do as a turnaround in the middle of the song. There we go. I don't know if that really was not bothering anybody, but it sure was bothering me. So that's the second turnaround that you can put into the song. Surprised you don't, Bill, hammer the F sharp. You absolutely could. You know, you could go. Absolutely. Sometimes I like to slide it. So it kind of puts me in a different position here. And in this position, I'm getting right into the C. So that's, either way, it'll work. It's really kind of up to you as to how you would like to play that. It's a very subtle thing, but that's a good suggestion too. And we have a way you can end the song, and there's lots of different ways you can end the song. This is just one example, and this is the last on that second page, your last 2 measures. And here just kind of works out like that. And I'm doing this whole thing, most of it in the second position. Now here I'm using my index finger the whole time because I just want a little bit of a sharper sound. I get that with these little metal finger picks too, but I just wanted to just crank that a little bit. So that'd be a nice little way to end the song. Now, what we can do now is let's go back to the beginning, and we're going to just take a look at the first two measures, and there's some interesting little things you could do here. Instead of just going, you could treat that as triplets. So here I'm just playing triplets with. And then when you go to the D7, you could keep it straight with the eighth. So that's just another way of tackling that. Another thing you could do is so let's take a look at that. Here we're just, it's all the right hand that's doing really the work here. So with that, you know, I'm really doing triplets again. My middle finger and index finger, again, my middle finger is on that second string, first string, and my index finger is on the second string. So I have, this is the triplet, F sharp, D, F sharp. And I just repeat that. And then I hit at the very end an F sharp note, or you can grab the F sharp and D. And do the same thing with the D7. So that's another way, just adding in some cool little things with the right hand. With the G7, you can do a whole bunch of little things. We talked about in that second measure doing, you know, stuff like that has lots of possibilities. You know, that's another little thing you can do. And up here I'm going to keep the bass on the fifth string and you know, you can also keep your pinky down on the second string, get that D note, and use your first finger on the F and bring that up and back down again a whole bunch of times, like. Or. So that's just another little thing that you can do. Now in that third line, I have that that little chord here, but you could do a lot of little things with this little chord. So here I'm just adding in my pinky onto the B note, coming up to the C, and bringing it back again. So I have. And Sue, would you sometimes bend the F sharp and D? How do you decide which notes to bend? If I want to bend that F sharp, it's going to take me into the G. So it's something that I probably would do, but if I was only against a G chord, and that's a little. You know, that's a little weird for me. I've never done that before. It's just bending up that F sharp so it's into a G. You know, you could bend if you meant bending the F up to an F sharp, that works really nice. And would you sometimes bend the D? Usually if I'm in the key, if I'm in a particular key, I would never bend the root note. It's going to get, It's not going to be nice. You're definitely going to be brought out to the hall and sent to the office for detention if you did that one. I usually don't bend the root note. I usually kind of, keep that straight. You could, though, give it a little vibrato. Vibrato is always fun to do. Here, I'm really getting the neck. I'm grabbing the neck here with my knuckle, and I'm really holding on, really kind of like that, and I'm getting. But sometimes you could pull it down, and if you do it fast enough, it still retains the D note. So that's a cool little thing that you can do in there. And here I could go. So here I can kind of get that F to the F sharp. And then when I get to the B note, I could bend that up a half step and bring it into the seventh. And a very tough little technique is to do a vibrato. And that takes some practice. Notice I'm getting a lot of purchase on the neck here, and my thumb is really anchoring on that fingerboard right there, so I can kind of like bend it up and push it just a little bit, like that, and let it spring back. So that's kind of an interesting little thing you can do. So that's a little fun thing that you can work on. And again, in this little position here, you can get all these little. You can even get like a real. I like to call this the money chord. You can get 3 fingers or just 1 finger. Just. It's a very cool little note to have in there, adding in the C here, and just kind of pushing up, just kind of, mangling the strings a little bit. And so So, I'll give you an example. If I was going to play How Long Blues and do a little solo, I can go I put another little A7 in there, and that's kind of cool. With this form of an A7, this is kind of fun to do this one. What we have is our E note with the 2nd string, the F sharp note on the 3rd string, and then the first we got the G on the 4th string, like that. And I put my 5th string in the bass. So I get that little sound. Now, the other half of that question, Sue, was how do I decide which notes to bend? Usually, if I'm in a particular key, I'm going to bend up the 4th note. So in this particular example, I got that G note. And what I mean, the 4th is the 4th note of the scale. And, that's a good little note to... So I'm bending that just about a half step. Now, if I really wanted to bend that up a full whole step, you know, I could really bend that up, but that takes, again, a lot of purchase on the neck. You really got to anchor that thumb in there and squeeze everything together. And that's another little lick you can throw in there by taking the third finger, really bending that up and holding it there, and then adding your pinky on the C. So you have, or you can get both notes. So that gives that little bit of a train sound there, which is a cool little thing you can do in this little area. Other little things that you can do is just use the kind of like the minor pentatonic or blues scale. You know, you could find that in a couple of different places here, a bunch of different places. But here, you could just go the D note with the third finger to the C, to the A note, to the G, back it down to the F, and then the D. So if I wanted to do that, you can really kind of just play around with that. You're welcome, Sue. Or you can. There's all things, you know, you've got two measures against a D here. So you could do all kinds of little things against that D chord and get like just a cool little sound. When I go to the G chord now, you're not always regulated here. You can also put your third finger on the sixth string here and get that same. You can get all those little notes, the B flat, open B, D, open E, and the G. And if you want to get the F, it's a little bit of a reach, but you can get that note in there. So a lot of times what I may do is keeping that sixth one. And I may you know, put two notes together to get some dissonance, and open E and a G together. You know, you could do all kinds of little things here. And one other thing you can do with the G chord is come into here. Here's an interesting way of playing a G7th chord in a drop D tuning. You can take your first finger, bar it across the sixth, fifth, and fourth string. You got lots of little bass notes to play around here. And I'm going to like form this little seventh shape with my pinky, second finger, and my third finger. I've got the B, the F, and the D. And, you know, that's one way of playing this. You can get the G in here. But a cool little thing you can do is just pick up the pinky and you get this little A note in there and that F note. You can also get just the D note and the F note. So now if I wanted to throw that little configuration together, okay, I'll start with the D. That's a nice little way. You can also pick up that second finger. And add the G there. Picking up all the fingers and then putting them back down in place on the F and D. That's a nice little way. David. David, you're in Sweden. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that is that. That's the one country up there I have not played in. So hopefully, after this whole COVID mess is over with, we get to do some playing, maybe up where you are. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? All right. Glad you liked it, David. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of these ideas together for you so you can see how how I'll demonstrate this. I'll get that little A chord in here too. All right. Anyway, again, you want to download the tab for the lesson. The tab is right down there, tinyurl.com / tab Toby Walker. And if you want to donate something, again, I'm giving away things for you to pick up. So up there, it's the tinyurl.com / donate Toby Walker. Okay, I really appreciate it. And again, what I'm giving away is for $15, 2 guitar lessons on teaching you 2 different songs: Baby Please Don't Go by Mans Lipscomb and C.C. Ryder, an arrangement I learned from the late Ben Andrews, which is really a cool arrangement. And if you go to the donate thing, I have 2 videos up there, and that shows you what I'm going to be teaching you. So that's up there. And then again, add another $5. You not only get that, but you get Fingerpicking Greenwich Village. And there's tunes Dylan, Dave Van Ronk, Brownie McGee, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, people like that. There's all kinds of people in there that are doing that. Did I put Carl Perkins in there? Jerry Lee Lewis? What was I thinking? No, it's not. It's not. It's Bob Dylan. It's Tom Paxton, Dave Van Ronk. I gotta fix that. And Brownie McGee and Mississippi John Hurt. I should fix that. All the people that played in Greenwich Village, or some of the people that played in Greenwich Village, the tunes are there. So anyway, you have that. So and then obviously for $60, a whole year's worth, you get access to everything I have ever put out. So that's a good bump for a whole year. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit with it. Sounds good, Toby. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate that very much. Let's say I just checking here. Thank you, Sue, for your donation. We have some donations coming in. I really appreciate your donations, folks. Anyway, so I'm just going to play a little bit of the How Long Blues. And before I do that, tonight at 7 p.m. right here on either YouTube or Facebook or my Twitch channel, I'm going to be doing a concert for you. I'm going to be bringing out my friend lent me his 1930 National Triolean. It's a great instrument. I'm going to be playing that and playing this guitar. So I'm going to just play a little How Long Blues, and I'm just going to improvise. right, so I just improvised a little bit on the How Long Blues. Folks, Bill, you don't think I hit sour notes? Oh, I do hit sour notes. It's just I can glide out of them pretty quickly. Anyway, but thanks for the compliment. Anyway, folks, so that'll be it for today. This will remain on the YouTube channel. It will remain on the Facebook page, and it'll remain on the Twitch. So you always have access to this entire lesson, and you can always download the tab. The tab will be up there for a whole week, and I will be back again on Thursday, every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving a guitar lesson, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing a whole concert. So you get all of those little things. And again, anything that you can donate really helps me out, because I don't have any gigs right now. And hopefully at the end of the summer, maybe in the middle of the summer, whenever this COVID thing we get a handle on it, and certainly by the fall, I want to be out touring again. I have a lot of friends that I really need to see again, and they're hours and hours away from me. So anyway, folks, thank you very much. I appreciate. Thank you, Sue. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And Rusty says the sour notes are called artistic variations. That's a good one. Christian, it's good to see you too. Okay. Compliments for the shirt from my daughter. Absolutely. Cool, Christian. All right. I guess they liked the shirt, huh? Well, this was an early birthday present. So, a very early birthday present. But anyway. All right, folks. I'm glad that you enjoyed the concert. And I'll be back here at 7 p.m. So, have a great day, the great evening.